Welcome to Metro. This is a service to
Strayatrains.
stopping all stations.
Welcome back to Strayatrains. The good old Taits. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Taits around the Newport Workshop's open day and talk about the future and plans of these trains. In addition, we'll take a look at some other miscellaneous shots and a little photo dub to conclude the three-part series for the Newport Workshop's open day. Hope you enjoy. So part of the reason why I love the day so much was because I got to chat with so many people. Probably many of you probably didn't realise it was me, but some of the people I got an opportunity to chat to was indeed the Steamrail Victoria volunteers to get their opinions on a few things, and part of that included their predictions for the Taits for this year. So as we see some of the Taits in restoration process and the current restored set, let's talk about the future of the Taits. In terms of the lines that they expected to run on, they do definitely plan on continuing running the Taits on the Belgrave line. This is almost as a double tourist attraction, so they'll run the Taits from Flinders Street to Belgrave, and then that will be in time for the Puffin Billy train service connection. So they pretty much plan on doing that as a double, throwback train tourist attraction. Of course, they will probably continue running the Taits to Essendon because they said that it has ceremonial significance, because Essendon was the first electrified line in Melbourne, and I believe it was actually the first electrified line in the whole of Australia. And of course, the first train to run on the Essendon line when it was electrified was, of course, the Red Rattlers. So we'll definitely probably see it at Essendon at least one more time this year. And also on the Pakenham line, expect to see the Taits there. I assume they'll also go to the Cranbourne line if they make their way all the way to Dandenong, but definitely expect to see it on the Pakenham line at some point this year. And those were the only lines that I kind of got, I don't want to call it confirmation, but I guess mention of. However, it is possible that they said they will plan on potentially bringing the Taits to other lines as well. So you might be like, well, okay, that's great. We sort of know what lines, but when exactly and how frequent will the Taits be around the network this year? Well, based off what the Steamrail Victoria volunteers said, it will likely be every 1 to 2 months. Now, this is for a few reasons. Just before I get onto those, let's take a look inside of the Taits driver's box. And here it is here. But I wanted to point one thing out, and this was the image that you're about to see. And this is how they pretty much changed the destination display on the front of the Taits, which is pretty cool. Some unique destinations there that we definitely don't see on Metro trains. And as we start the photo dump, let's get back to the reasons. The first reason is, despite the Tait recently being restored, it's still, of course, a very old train. In fact, a train that's roughly 100 years old, and of course is still, to a large extent, quite frail, and they don't want to overdo the train. So even though it is recently restored, they still want to keep it in fairly good condition, and that means that it can't run too much. The other reason is because it's an electrified train, to get it out of the Newport workshops, you must take it on very few tracks, and only drivers are actually an authorised personnel allowed to be on the trains, and that is why there is the empty car transfer to Flinders Street Station, whereas, for example, steam trains, or at least trains that aren't electrified, pretty much anyone can get on them in terms of volunteers, even if they aren't authorised personnel to drive a train or be on it at the time. So I guess it's for that as well. There's a slight inconvenience to pretty much get it out of the workshops. It's not the easiest thing. I can't remember the route that they said, but the volunteers that is, but it isn't the easiest thing. So as much as they like to do it, of course, they've got to be quite realistic in their plan for the Taits each time they take it out of the Newport workshops and coordinate it with the electrified services. So as we enjoy the final few shots of the open day, hope you enjoyed this three-part series, both 1 and 2 being certain trains, and then 3 being the Taits and information regarding them. So I can't wait for them to return in the future around the network and see where they end up. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this series, and we'll leave it at that. Cheers.